Imagine walking through a city where cranes dot the skyline, construction workers buzz like bees, and new homes rise from empty lots every day. Now imagine that same city suddenly slowing, scaffolding still but fewer projects moving forward, and lots that should be developing sit empty for months. This is the reality. Canada's housing market is beginning to face a challenge that could shape home prices, availability, and affordability for years to come. Supply and construction issues are no longer just background chatter in real estate circles. They have become headline topics affecting buyers, sellers, investors, and policymakers nationwide. While much of the news focuses on pricing trends or interest rates, the undercurrent of supply constraints is quietly reshaping Canada's housing landscape. The foundation of the problem: a history of high demand. Canada has experienced a prolonged period of high housing demand, driven by population growth, immigration, and historically low interest rates. For over a decade, cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal saw rapid price escalation and construction booms, especially in the condominium sector. However, supply has not kept pace with demand. Even before recent economic shifts, housing shortages were evident in urban cores and popular suburban areas. Developers often struggled with land acquisition, zoning approvals, and labor shortages, creating bottlenecks that slowed new projects. In other words, Canada has been building houses, but not enough houses for the growing population, rising costs, and supply chain challenges. Recent years have added new layers of complexity. Construction materials, from lumber to steel, have skyrocketed in price, increasing overall development costs. Supply chain disruptions during the global pandemic revealed the fragility of international sourcing for construction essentials. Even now, delays in materials and equipment continue to slow project timelines. These challenges are not limited to material costs. Labor shortages have become a critical factor. Skilled tradespeople, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, and general construction workers are in short supply in many provinces, without sufficient labor. Even approved and funded projects take longer to complete, further constraining supply. Government regulations and zoning hurdles. Regulations play a crucial role in shaping supply. Municipal zoning laws, permitting processes, and development approvals can significantly delay construction. In some cities, new zoning regulations have made it harder to build higher density housing, limiting the ability to meet growing demand in urban areas. While regulations exist for safety and urban planning purposes, the result can be slower project starts, more expensive development, and fewer homes entering the market. In essence, regulatory hurdles are another layer of friction preventing supply from matching demand. The ripple effect on prices and affordability. When supply cannot keep pace with demand, prices inevitably rise. Limited housing stock drives competition, especially in desirable neighborhoods and urban centers. This dynamic has contributed to affordability challenges, leaving first-time buyers struggling to enter the market and middle-income families paying a larger share of their income on housing. Even as the national housing market shows signs of cooling, supply issues can prevent a rapid adjustment. A slowdown in construction does not instantly reduce demand. It simply limits options for buyers, keeping prices higher than they would be in a truly balanced market. Regional variations. Not all cities are equal. Supply issues are not uniform across Canada. Large cities like Toronto and Vancouver face intense demand with limited land availability, making supply constraints particularly acute. In contrast, some smaller cities and towns, especially in Atlantic Canada and parts of the prairies, have more land available for development. Though local labor shortages and infrastructure limitations can still slow growth, even within a single metropolitan area, supply dynamics vary. High-rise condos may face long approval timelines, while single-family homes in suburban zones may experience fewer regulatory hurdles but struggle with construction costs or workforce shortages. Understanding these local nuances is crucial for anyone navigating Canada's housing market. Innovative solutions and industry adaptation. Developers, policymakers, and urban planners are exploring ways to address supply challenges. Prefabricated and modular construction methods are gaining traction, allowing for faster project completion and reduced labor dependency. Some municipalities are streamlining approvals for certain types of developments to accelerate housing supply. Investments in workforce training programs for skilled trades are also underway in several provinces, aiming to reduce labor shortages over time. While these solutions take time to implement, they represent proactive approaches to a problem that could otherwise worsen affordability and limit housing availability. The long-term perspective. Supply and construction issues in Canada are more than a short-term inconvenience. They influence long-term planning for housing affordability, population growth, and urban development. A constrained supply can create cycles of price volatility, speculative buying, and stress on renters and buyers alike. Addressing supply requires coordinated efforts across multiple sectors: government, private developers, labor unions, and investors. Solutions are not simple, but the stakes are high. Canada's ability to balance demand, affordability, and urban growth depends on navigating these challenges effectively. Why this matters to buyers, sellers, and investors. For buyers, understanding supply constraints helps set realistic expectations. It explains why certain areas remain expensive despite broader market slowdowns. For sellers, awareness of limited supply may indicate opportunities to maintain competitive pricing even in a cooling market. Investors, meanwhile, must consider supply pipelines when evaluating long-term returns on residential and commercial properties. Supply and construction issues are not abstract concepts, they have tangible effects on everyday housing choices and financial planning. Conclusion: building the future, one home at a time. Canada's housing market is at a crossroads. Cooling prices and softening demand dominate headlines, but supply and construction issues quietly dictate how the market functions beneath the surface. The challenges are real: rising costs, labor shortages, regulatory hurdles, and logistical delays. Yet these challenges also open doors for innovation, smarter urban planning, and solutions that could stabilize the market over the long term. In the end, the story of supply and construction is a story about more than buildings. It's about communities, families, and the fundamental need for homes that are accessible, safe, and sustainable. Addressing these issues is not just a real estate imperative, it's a societal one. And while the cranes may move slower today, each new foundation laid is a step toward a housing market that works for everyone. Because in Canada, homes are not just structures, they're the heart of our cities, the anchor of our families, and the foundation of our future.